Welcome to the Weekly Sun hosted by Normal Shit. It's the off-season edition. Let's take a look at what we're doing today. Now, we'll have my opinion on what the off-season procedures, what off-season procedures should be taken, what picks should be going round one of the rookie draft, and the top free agents of this class. So let's start with the Delaware Kyurem-Black Foxes. They have two round one picks, potentially solid core for re-signing, great coach, and plenty of cap space. Moving on, let's go to the Utah Weeds. They have a good amount of salary space. The first pick, round one, pick one, they'll have the first pick of the lot in the rookie draft. They have money to offer, considering that they're not a big re-sign team. They'll be able to dish out a lot of dollars to ones they definitely want on their team. They will most likely still need to tank though. I feel like no matter what they do this offseason, I don't think they can grab enough star power to force their team into playoff contention. I think it's worth tanking another year, getting Mons on the bench, and focusing on contending in later seasons when this season's good teams aren't as good due to cap space and such. Speaking of cap space, the Washington Blizzards are a team that I definitely want to focus on because they have a great archetype that can be drafted for. They have great resign potential, bunch of utility Pokemon that would be great on teams other than stall or defensive semi-stall teams. They have enough money to make good free agency moves and signings, and their draft position at pick number 2 is amazing, and their coach is not so good on defensive archetypes as we've seen in the past. And I think it would be better if he shifted from this because a lot of other teams like this style, putting bulky Pokemon on their team. And it causes a bit of competition when the free agency comes around. It causes snipes in the rookie draft, etc., etc. Moving on, we got the Dallas Staravias, who have a solid draft plan. But now, of course, I have management here. I'll talk about that later. But who have a solid draft plan. They're drafting Mono Water, which in and of itself, when you hear Mono Water in a draft league format, you instantly think it makes no sense. You're probably gonna lose, but in reality, Mono Water is just as dangerous as any team ever, due to the fact that Rain is mostly water types, aside from Ferrothorn. Usually, Ferrothorn are like Toxicroak or something, so that's mostly water types. There are a lot of water types that cover for each other's weaknesses, like how Kingdra, water dragon, and can take a grass hit for most of the time, and things along that line. But their cons actually have to do with things other than that. Salary cap. They have the lowest amount of money left for a team. Now, of course, they're going to be dumping off a lot of weight from their team right now, but that's still going to leave a dent in their cap. And it's going to force them to pick from mostly the rookie draft. Also, their draft situation is weird. Not only is their pick a bit higher than it should be, but their management is definitely going to struggle. I think the management isn't as much as a problem as it is the way the coach is going about trades. I think he's getting more into more manageable, reasonable trades, even if it's to obtain a goal that a lot of people don't agree with. Moving on with the Philadelphia Braviaries, they have good salary space, a good how I'll put this. They have a great archetype in their place draft, which is I'd say balance, and helps because that really invites any Pokemon to your team. It makes for a good attraction. You have that salary space, you have that good drafting style. It gives you a pitch, it gives you all of these things, and the coach, when it comes to the battling, I think is very prime, and I think he'll be able to carry his team if he can put together a good off season. He'll be able to put together a team of drastic proportions. But their cons also comes from their coach, who I don't think is too adapted to the style of the off season. I think he might struggle in the words he needs to use or say, etc., etc. The Ottawa Garchomp are really the exact opposite. They have a great understanding of the system, and they have nice resignability because a lot of their mons are mons that would never that wouldn't mind to rejoin their team come the off season. There's also the ability their ability to go out and do stuff during free agency, including trades, pickups, sign-in trades are definitely something I hope to see in this offseason. I think it can be very useful. In their draft position, they made playoffs, but they'll be the third pick in the draft. They'll consistently get decent Pokemon, but their cons, I think their salary is a bit low for a team that's in a position like theirs. The rated R superstar use. Not a lot about the team. They have great resignability, and their coach seems adapted to the system. Not only that, but a great battler. And they don't have a lot of cons. Their team is very open. It seems very flexible, even if it's hyper off. For now, it's hyper offense, I believe. Let's move on to the top draft prospects. Starting off, we've got Magnezone, a great skill trapper. Helps it poses a threat mostly because it comes in on things like Ferrothorn, Fortress, and Skarmory. Causes a lot of trouble, causes a lot of stress when you have those mons. Forces unusual items, so you can't have that leftovers. Rocky Helmet, Focus Sash, or leftovers. Whatever you choose, you can't have that because you need on those Ferrothorn or like Skarmory, you need that Shed Shell. And on Fortress, I mean, overall Fortress, all it does really is kill it, unless it's a EQ Fortress where you get problems caused. Moving on, we got Heracross, who has two great abilities in Guts and Moxie. Item versatility with the LO, Flame Orb, Choice Band, Choice Scarf, Z moves, a great move set, and being an all-around physically offensive threat really helps, because if you take a good large look at this top prospects board, you only really notice there's 1-2 physical threats. Moving on, Porygon Z. It's a slow breaker, an agility sweeper, aka a webs abuser, but it's also what I term like is off utility. Thunder Wave, Recover, Trick Room. It has all these moves that aren't super obviously helpful to a team, yet somehow he can definitely help. Not like how these moves were considered Porygon 2's bread and butter. They're kind of more optional on Porygon Z. Moving on to Gardevoir. It is a Scarf finisher. I love Scarf Gardevoir. I think it's going to be able to end teams because that's very difficult. It's still a very powerful special attacking Mon, and it'll use that power to make sure that it breaks certain teams towards end of the games when they're not strong enough to take her on. It's also good utility with Wish, all the statuses, I believe Healing Wish, and just being able to pivot around, recover itself. Trace is a great ability, by the way, and of course the Semi Sweeper with like sub CM. It's not its main priority, but it's very, very useful. Next we have a Bulky Water. I know this might be a great pick for the Staravias, but a Wish Passer, a nice Bulky Water, and it fits a great fit on defensive play styles. It's defense is the name of the game. If you're gonna draft a Vaporeon, it handcrafts defensive cores. So great. And it's Metagross. It's a great utility. I think it's a great stall breaker because it doesn't get toxic. Can't get toxic. deals damage to most of Stall's big dogs, whether it's super effective or not. You can take them, you can take them one-on-one, toxic, you run certain sets. It's a nice sweeper because once again, like it says with Porygon, it's an agility sweeper, webs abuser, same thing goes for Metagross, and its moveset is great. EQ, Ice Punch, it can flip its stabs, so Metagross, no, Meteor Mass, Zen Headbutt, Flash Cannon, Psychic, all these great things. Moving on, of course, we're going to go to one of the most versatile mons in this little group of prospects in Silvally. Silvally is very versatile, of course, being able to be of every typing in the book. Its stats, of course, 95s across the board allow it to be very versatile. It's a job filler. You need a physical wall, physical attacker, special attacker, pivot, mainly pivot. You can run scarf without being an extra typing, and you're always going to get that parting shot off because that base 95 scarf is going to be very helpful. And last, certainly not least, Primarina. Once again, like Porygon, like Metagross, it's a slow breaker and a web sweeper. Of course, it doesn't have agility, but if it sets up a sub and starts just blasting off Moonblasts and Hydro Pumps, it's going to hurt. So, I have my draft board up in the corner. So far, there's of these 8 mons, I believe Heracross should be top priority for anyone. I think that is the best mon in this lot. I think it has the best potential. I think it's able to bash in the heads of anybody who thinks that it's not. Vaporeon is the next one. I believe it's going to go very high. Maybe not to the Blizzards. I could see it going a bit later to the Braviaries. Maybe Silvally, all I think can go anywhere in this draft, but I think in terms of overall what I think are just the best mons, Silvally definitely can be put up for 3rd. 4th is Magnezone. Maybe I made a mistake here. I would rather put maybe Gardevoir at 4, Magnezone at 5, Porygon at 6, and then maybe keep everything else as is, or maybe move Metagross up to 5 and